Okay, right in front of us we have an hour and 20 minutes long video, and I'm gonna have to put it in 2 times speed because I don't have that much time right now. I have to, not be here soon. So I think in this dev update there's gonna be, what is there gonna be? There's gonna be more information, hopefully. This is a checkbox for this video. There has to be info on things that we don't know about this update, things like the leaderboards. We don't even know anything about that, and it's supposed to come in fall. Maybe like things like the earthworm, or not the earthworm, the sandworm. Other than that, I think they're gonna talk about the anniversary. I don't think they're gonna do an event. It just doesn't look like they will. I saw it in the thumbnail. There's a cake. I kind of predicted there was gonna be a cake. Like, that was literally my prediction. So I don't know what they're gonna do with it. Maybe they're gonna just eat it, but that's there. And then the big one is the roadmap. Oh my god, the roadmap. We'll get to it when we get to it. I'm like 95% sure there's a roadmap here, but oh my god. Okay, let's get into it. 2 times speed. Ready? Go.
Hello everyone, welcome to the New World September update, which also happens to be the 1-year birthday for Eternum. Cake. It's been a really long road. It feels like a lot longer than that. It's been exciting. We've had some hurdles, but overall, it's been great. And I just want to take a moment to thank the players for helping us get here. Like, working together as partners, it's been an excellent experience, and the team and game have gotten better for it. So thank you.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a different kind of MMO, and it's really important for us to live off of player feedback. So those of you who stuck with us and supported us, tremendous thanks there. Also the people who gave us criticisms. All of that makes us better. If you haven't been playing for a while, I encourage you to check out the game now and see all the changes that we made in the last year. We're gonna have a summary of them here, but you'll also find the game's just very different.
Next one, we want to just give a quick shout out to
oh my god,
the dedication and effort put into making the game better.
Whoa,
it's just been awe-inspiring and amazing. And I just want to say a big thank you.
Those are all fixes.
And for the team at Greater Amazon, we owe them a ton.
That's crazy.
Christoph Hartman, who runs Amazon Games, Jeff Blackburn with Jimmy. Amazon's been incredibly supportive of trying to do this the right way, do the right thing, support the customers, support the players. They've given us time and the ability to hone the game with your feedback, and that's a great environment to make a good game.
And the dev team's not just.
I feel like they had to, because if they failed New World, it would have just looked terrible. But also, like, yeah, New World, like, dude, if it wasn't for the committed players, New World would be dead right now. Like, they would have shut it down a while ago. So, I mean, the committed players actually gave it enough life for it to continue to the point where now it's like it's picking back up.
Everyone who works for Amazon. We have a bunch of co-dev partners that I'd like to just call out. Ridiculous Games, Blind Squirrel.
Shout out to my homies.
Lost Boys, Robotic Arms, Secret Society Games, Climax,
Lost Boys.
Lair.
1-year takeaways, interesting. So this is basically what they've learned in the year. They've been working on New World.
All right, we're ready to talk about some takeaways from year 1. Joined by a few people today. We have Dave Verfai, who's a creative director. Drew Higbee, our senior product manager.
Drew, I haven't seen that guy yet.
And Katie Kaczynski, our live lead senior producer. So, when thinking about how we talked about takeaways from the first year, there's something we do at work called stop, start, continue, and it's things we want to stop doing, things we want to start doing, and things we want to keep doing. That'd be fun to talk about it in that sense. So
is he trying to be like the angry Earth? Like, what is this? Dude's trying to be a mob, bro. Like, if he adds himself into the game, there'd be better mob variety. Maybe we should just do it.
What kind of happened is I kind of wrote down the things, and we're just gonna throw them out on the table and talk about them. Of course, because we're game developers, we want to start with things we want to stop doing. So, first thing we want to stop doing is taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. What I mean by that is our team just busts our butts to get these releases out and make it really big and everything players want, and then we make a mistake that kind of takes away all of the goodness that we've added. So going forward, we're going to probably do a little less and try to do it at a much higher quality and make sure our releases are even better. And part of that starts with the PTR, getting things out there earlier, and again, listening to the feedback, making sure that we're making the release as good as possible.
I think that we've already started the stop of that, right? So in the beginning of the year and late 2021, we were releasing content every month, and it was very obvious to players and ourselves that it just wasn't up to the quality bar. And so in the beginning of this year, we started adjusting to every other month and then just fixing bugs in the middle. And that was a recipe for success, but we still weren't quite hitting the bar that we wanted to hit. And I know the players expect from us. So we've continued to kind of elongate that time between content releases, which is a positive and a negative because we want to keep giving them content.
It's okay to have time between the content if the content is impactful. Like, if it's just a dungeon, then there's no, like, you just drop a dungeon and then you go off for like 2 months until the next. Like, that's not enough. But I think as time goes on, that's going to be more of a viable formula, I guess, just because there's going to be more content, so people are going to demand, they're going to be desperate for less content, if that makes sense. So that works. Yeah, less bugs
as quick as possible, but at the same time we really need it to be hitting a very high quality bar, so we're definitely stopping and still continuing to start.
It's kind of
all of it, yeah, exactly.
Next one is stop the grind. So
stop the grind. We need the grind, dude.
3 years ago than we are now. And
We
we've
need
heard
the
feedback, and
grind.
It's really important that we respond in a good way. And I think we've had some efforts toward that. Would you say, Dave?
Yeah, I think it's grind and also the friction of playing a little bit. In terms of the grind, like you remember how long it used to take to get to level 60 when the game started? Now with the RSC and some of the
That was
games,
cool,
it's much
though.
quicker progress. And what I like about it is it
Just
naturally
make it more
optimizes. As you quest,
interesting.
You naturally level up now, and you go to the places you're at the right level. You don't have to do extra activities. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, we're leaning into the storytelling and the setting clearer goals for players. We're still going to have a lot of that sandbox support, like open feeling gameplay, but we're also going to make sure we complement it with more directed gameplay.
Yeah. And in terms of the friction, like huge improvements there, right? Like off the top of my head, my biggest one is global storage, right? Like now I can access
Yeah.
my stuff from any town from one storage center. So it's
Well,
huge.
not
I'm
quite,
playing,
but
the PTR right now,
almost.
when I craft 40 of any item, it's a lot better than it was just a few weeks ago. Like I can't wait to get that out for everybody.
Absolutely true. And I mean, not the least of which, fast travel, linked storage chests, as Dave mentioned, just a lot of reduced friction in the game.
Orbs, let's
Expedition
not-
orbs being removed,
let's not forget
huge
that
friction
one.
reduction for players hopping in, group finder, being able to hop in groups together easier, lots of improvements.
Oh, my favorite, inventory while running.
my
Come
gosh,
on.
yes.
Still
Oh, that was
That
big,
one's kind of
bro.
fun because
That was so
we mentioned
cool.
this before in a different video, but if you look back at our roadmap and our plan,
Can you imagine there was a point where you had to stop to access your inventory? That's actually kind of crazy to think about. Completely forgot about that.
inventory while running was not actually supposed to come out as soon as it did, but we heard players in that one, and we realized that was an area of opportunity that we could pull in that were
Took a
incredibly
while,
sooner,
dude.
and it was a huge impact on people. So that was awesome, and we want more of that. We want to be able to do more of that.
I mean, all of that, that basically everything we did in our reduced friction initiative
Yeah.
was from the players. Like this was all stuff we had on the list and we wanted to get to, but it came through really clearly that you wanted us to get to this now, so we did. Another stop is being behind the queue issue, and I don't, no pun intended there, but we haven't reacted fast enough or anticipated properly when large groups were coming in, and it's created some queue issues. And it's something that going forward we're gonna do our best to improve at that.
That was
Yeah,
fun.
we have some plans that are currently design is done, but we're currently looking at implementation that's going to help folks move to their desired world really quickly, and that's what we need to do to get rid of the queues. Anybody
Oh,
who was here
nice.
in the first weeks of September knows that we had
Yeah,
some queues from returning
yeah,
players
yeah,
and some
yeah.
new players, and the response that we had to that versus the response we had at launch queues is night and day, right? So
My understanding is if you're in a populated area of the map, you're gonna have higher queues. Like if you logged off in Everfall, and there's a lot of people in Everfall, you're gonna have more queues than someone who logged off in Cutlass Keys, or something like that. That's what I'm understanding, and I'm pretty sure they pretty much just confirmed that.
within a day and a half, queues on most worlds had gone down, and it's kind of an elegant locking and unlocking solution along with opening worlds as worlds become full, so that we can make sure that there's an even distribution versus just being like, here's 100 worlds, have at it. And then after player lands on a world when they first start, then they can transfer somewhere else if they feel like they want to. But this is how we're addressing the queue situation, because we definitely do not want another launch situation.
But we're okay with queues a little bit of time also, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
just don't want it to
of
be an
course.
hour. I mean, personally, I don't want it to be 30 minutes. I would like to make it as low as possible, but I and other players, we associate queues with this world as popping, right? There just can't be a long time in the queue because I want to actually play.
Yeah, I think 5-10 minutes is understandable at some points, not every time you log on, but sometimes. And I just want to say, we're not home yet. We know that. We know some people are still experiencing problems. We're working on it. We're looking at ways to get you to transfer players easier.
Why is
Service
my
or things
camera
around before they happen.
shaking?
We understand
Hold
that this is really important for long-term success of your world.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some things we want to keep doing. So these are the continue stuff. One at the top of the list is this. And what I mean by this is communicating directly with the players. Not only through the dev video, but the forums or on Reddit, all the stuff we talk about all the time, the in-game feedback mechanism.
Mounts
We're gonna
are
keep doing
coming,
this.
dude.
We think it's been working really well for us. We hope
Dude, mounts. Oh, okay. Well, let me fix this. Before I say anything. Are we good? It's still shaking because of my freaking fan, but mounts are coming. I mean, they're confirmed. I don't know if they're going to talk about it here. I hope they do. I mean, that might be in the roadmap, to be honest with you. Talk about that when we get there.
That's why I don't think we have a lot of discussion around. It's pretty straightforward. Another one is we want to keep investing in performance. We want the game to run as good as possible on as many machines as possible.
Yep. No, and I think performance is multi-factor, right? Like we want to deal with client performance so that it runs well. We want to deal with network performance so that you can see all the people. I know we've had some issues where like you might lose VFX, things like that. These are all high on our list. We recently put back the instancing wars. That's an attempt to make hubs more stable. So this is something we're tackling on multiple fronts. It's one we're not done with. Also, like you said, this is a continue for sure. But it's high on our list, and I think you got to be able to play the game at performance to really enjoy it. So
We want to keep doing events. The summer event was I had a blast playing. I think the players seemed to like it. The winter event, Winter Convergence Festival we did last year. Even Turkey Lawn was pretty fun. Turkey Terror.
giant turkeys. Come
Turkey
on,
Terror,
man.
sorry.
That's
So I think it's something
Turkey
we wanna
Lawn's coming
get
back.
into a little more.
What do
Absolutely.
those giant turkey legs sell for on the market these days, Drew?
Expensive amount.
Yeah.
That's pretty good because they're delicious. Yeah, we definitely want to keep digging into that. I know that personally, and after
No, because you haven't been able to get them since like a year. Can you even sell them now?
reading forums and Reddit, like the Summer Medley Fair did excellent. It's probably one of our best performing events.
Yeah.
And that says something because it was an event that brought people together. It got them to be in an excited way introduced to this new gameplay, which was instruments. So that was really cool. I know that quite a few of my friends who had lapsed, honestly, came back for musical instruments, and they're like, hey, you want to jam out for like real quick? And I do want to jam out real quick. Let's do this. It's awesome. So we're gonna lean into those events that are just exciting fun.
It's so funny.
Man, look. The event was cool, but I do not want an event where I have to wait an entire season to play music and fish. Okay, I want to play New World because of the combat. I want to play New World because of the dungeons and stuff. I do not want to freaking play music. So please don't force people to play music or anything like that. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. But it was a cool event. I mean, I grinded it out because I had to, but
Playing the other night, we're doing the chess run at Burkhardt, and we're on the last big portal. And some dude's up there playing music, people are like, why is he doing that? I'm like, who cares? It's hilarious.
What was it up, though?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Territory standing.
Territory standing.
I know, we're in Shatter Mountain. You don't get any territory. Who cares? It's still fun.
It is fun. I like it a lot, and I honestly will, before we do like an elite chess run, somebody will start playing music, and if they have a buff that's like interesting, like either gathering luck or even like decidedly extras, I think those ones are kind of fun to pick up right before you do those
Oh
runs.
yeah, I always start up a session
I'm
right
getting
before we go
tired of
live
this
for, the increased yield.
screen
Yes,
shaking.
yep, exactly.
I think for me, the rewards this time for the medley fair were awesome. Right? I think it's a big improvement. Like the patterns were really awesome. That fishing pole, although we know there's a bug with it, we're on it. That was an amazing fishing pole. So I think just the rewards really gave me another reason to participate.
My whole backyard is lights. I have these extra tokens.
Hilarious.
What else do we want to keep doing? We want to keep getting better at storytelling and varying our content more.
Yes,
I think,
absolutely,
the advanced
man,
story experience where people are playing
absolutely.
right now on the PTR is really
Yeah.
a big personification of this, right? Like, we want the story to push people through the zones. We want the story
Hold up,
to
hold up,
tell
hold up,
people
hold
the
up,
story.
hold up. Watch my video. Watch my video, man. That's what you need to do. You have to watch my video to see the new experience.
We're doing more in terms of introducing people like the Grace O'Malley character. You're getting to see her more often, so you build that relationship with her. The types of questing experiences.
Grace O'Malley.
Are you laughing at me?
Because you're so
I don't know, I just want to snap. I gotta get my notes.
There's platforming, where you jump from half to half now. But all these different types of experiences, I think just really help you.
That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
I also like the historical figures that are sprinkled in, and that kind of gives me that connection to what's going on. It could be.
Absolutely, I think for instance, Sands is a huge amount of lore that goes into that, and very interested in the history that we're building there.
For sure. One of the
I'm excited
one
to
of
do
main
the
pieces of feedback we
quest
got
on
previously was
Brimstone.
people didn't really connect to the story. Like it was there, but unless
Yeah.
you're truly seeking it out, you really didn't find it. Like it wasn't a part of your journey. They just
Exactly.
joined and did what they wanted. And so with the revamp starting experience to start it off, and then into Brimstone, that entire progression, you are hearing her talk in your head, which just brings it home. This is Isabella talking to you. So that is
I mentioned that in the video.
so cool, and it definitely brings the lore and the storytelling direct to the player this time.
Yeah, and there's a few cinematics that were held back that we can't wait to share with people as well. I think
Yee.
they'll drag that story further on.
I can't wait to
Yeah.
see those.
What else do we want to keep doing? More on-demand group content for PvE and PvP. So what I think
Uh-huh.
about this one is the expeditions, OPR, those things are just so fun, and they seem to be resonating with players. So we want to keep doing those type of activities and maybe invent
Sure.
new ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Sure.
the other thing we have added in the last year is we have the 3v3
Invent some new ones? Raids? Raids? What?
arenas. We're still looking at a lot of improvements and changes coming to those over the next few months. So definitely want to continue to build on the different modes that we've introduced. To that end, Group Finder and removing expedition keys, huge boost. We actually have twice as many expeditions being run every day than we used to have just a few weeks ago. Before these changes we're very excited about.
Well, I
And
mean,
so many more players are getting
pretty sure that's
expeditions
because the
easier and getting all that
player
content
count
and
doubled,
that
but
easier.
okay.
Awesome.
And the solo option, right? Because so that was not something they launched with. Was a solo option for people that wanted to just play the main story quest line without having to group up and they just want to do their own thing. And that's now an option. So you have an opportunity to do a solo experience instead of having to group up. I still suggest grouping up. You can use Group Finder. There's no words. Come on, get into the expedition.
And a big
Yeah.
mentioned arenas, like we're now going to be introducing separate queues for solo people and groups in arenas. So I think that's going to one help the balance and two just give another option to solo players.
I also think like Group Finder.
Oh, that's
we have
big.
things to work out there, and over the next few months,
I might
we're
actually
gonna
play
make it
arenas
easier
now
for players
then.
to get in and find it, and it's something we're going to continue to work on and improve.
Yeah, I think the PvP experience for lower level players being able to jump into arenas, as we see more players returning and more players starting up in New World, we're seeing those start to really pop off. This last week we had massive amounts of players participating in level 30 arenas. So definitely suggest
Wow.
jumping into the queue while you're leveling just to see.
We want to keep adding horizontal gameplay. You might notice that we were asked a lot, are you going to raise the level cap for Brimstone? And we just didn't think it was time to yet. We think as we get more content and more
Yeah? Oh no, they're actually gonna do it then. I don't know if that's a good thing. Don't know if that's a good thing, man. If they do that, they have to make a lot of changes. Like the dungeons have to go up in level as well. Like imagine just going up to like level 70 and now all the level 60 dungeons that are out now are just worthless. So, I mean, it can't just be raising the level cap. There has to be some other changes, but if they're willing to do that, man, I'm willing to grind the levels.
things for players to do. We feel like there's enough there, but we did want to go sideways a little bit. So our first foray into this is a hard jump.
Yeah,
True,
no, hard
true.
gems are a great example, right? One, I think we wanted another active ability, right? So I think it helps the sort of combat experience. And two, it gives you another way to sort of itemize your character. And a lot of these, we really designed them as sort of utility abilities, right? Like so they complement builds, and since they're separate from weapons, it's sort of like almost a third little weapon choice, right? To sort of create a holistic build. So we have that. We have obviously the rune glasses coming out also, and also like in perks and the sort of itemization around gearing is really our key horizontal gameplay also, right? And I think that's something we recently did the perk revamp, and I know Drew was super excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in July release we did a big revamp of almost all the perks in the game. I think out of all of them we only left maybe 10% untouched. Everything else has changed. That's a huge effort by the team to go through, and we've seen very positive reception. Millions of items being crafted, people chasing those best in slot pieces. It's pretty exciting to see that gameplay evolve too.
Yeah, those
The
are
next
pretty
one is
cool.
near and dear to my heart. Call it Keep the Chill. We want New World to continue to be a place you can get lost in. Chop down trees, harvest, fish,
Yeah.
play music instruments. It doesn't always have to be a stressful go kill, go run a dungeon, go do a run. Like those are fantastic and really fun. But sometimes it's also fun to just kind of chill through the game, relax, harvest stuff, do things like craft and other activities that aren't quite as stressful. So it's something that I think makes New World feel a little different than other games, and something we're going to keep leaning into.
Bro, I love running through the forest and just chopping down trees. It's so, like, it makes no sense, but it's so addicting.
It can either be a job or a vacation. The
Yeah.
opportunity and option is yours.
Yeah,
there's nothing like
true,
going on harvest
true,
mountain, you know,
very
something you
true.
haven't seen before, and a different time of day when you get there, an entirely different look down on the valley. It's just
Yeah.
great.
At dusk, grab that fishing pole, go to some water, watch a sunset.
It's cool. We want to keep pushing our combat forward. We think our combat is one of the big differentiators in the game, and it's something that we are going to continue pushing and try to improve and make better.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about the hard gems. That's our most recent addition. We got a new weapon coming that's going to completely shake up the meta, the big great sword. So it's something we're going to keep investing in.
great
Performance of it is another
sword.
area that we're constantly looking at how to optimize, make it smoother, especially in large scale combat. So big effort.
I think we're going to, I don't have a time frame or anything, but we're going to continue to add more weapons into the mix over time for sure. I think it's interesting how it mixes up
Let us
gameplay.
know what you want next, community.
Celestial Gauntlet. I don't heal and I hate to heal, but I need more healers in the game. So please bring out Celestial Gauntlet. Like, I'm tired of looking for healers. I'm tired of basically the 0.3% of the players being actual healers. So yeah, please do that. Yeah, thanks, man.
Ready?
Yes.
They've let us know.
And what is it?
Daggers.
Daggers, dude. No, don't bring out that, bro. Don't, like, that's cool, bro. That's cool, but we need tank and healer weapons. Please, dude. That should be the priority, and then you could do whatever you want.
TBD. There's other weapons in the mix too. A blow dart gun.
Blow dart, yeah. Nah.
We want to continue making the rewards better and improving the rewards and delivering great rewards. I think that what drives you to do anything is the rewards. So
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about a bunch of adjustments on the perks, making it feel more rewarding when you're crafting, just because there's more of the perks are viable. There's more builds to play with there. We also went back and did a pass and looked through all of the elite zones in the world and a lot of the just different POIs and up the level of some of those monsters, so that way there's new items available from those. I know I've spent many hours farming rings myself out in the open world, so we really looked at the rewards across the different aspects of where players play and where they spend their time, and have tried to increase those. I think it's also really apparent in Brimstone Sands and a lot of different POIs and zones there and rewards that you're getting from quests.
And the starting experience, right? Like, we handcrafted rewards for every quest from 1 through 25, and a
I
lot of them
think I
are
might
juice,
change
right?
my
Like, they give
location.
you power over your level, which is a really great feeling. And since
Oh,
you level
it's
pretty
better.
high now, it doesn't sort of break the balance too much. So it's fun to sort of give them juice rewards.
break the balance, which leads to our last continue, which is we want to keep things balanced.
Yeah, let's
it's
hope
important to
so.
hear the feedback in the meta. Is this
One
one
can
better?
only hope.
What is it today? I read last night it was the bow and the musket, which I don't agree with.
Bow PR.
Yeah, the bow maybe, but the musket is. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, especially a game with such a wide variety of gameplay, right? Like, we've got obviously PvE solo, we've got group PvE, we've got solo, we've got the arenas, we've got wars, we've got OPR. So across this wide spectrum, it's really hard to balance things. I think, we're continuously looking for outliners.
It
But
is,
sometimes
yeah.
if a weapon is really good in one part of gameplay, that is sometimes okay with us that it doesn't shine in every other, right? Like, I know the musket is the example Scott and I have talked about, right? Like, in PvE, the musket is not, I think it's not high tier, let's be fair. But it can be really, really good in OPR, and, in war, they have, specific musket ranges for the siege weaponry and things like that. So there's purposes.
But the musket to
The musket still needs work, man. I'm sorry. It's too overpowered.
me is an example of where a weapon can be considered OP when quite often a player who's way better than others.
Is that why you don't like it?
Yes. No,
No, I think the musket takes literally 0 skill. A toddler could pick up the musket and get kills in OPR. So it has nothing to do with skill. It's just the fact that it's literally hit scan. Like, it's not that complicated to understand. Is that Walter White Smith in the background? What's happening there? Walter?
I'm very, very, actually, you'll see
You can't
I
aim.
can aim, I just can't hit things. But when I play myself play and then I watch Shroud play, I want to kick something because he
Shroud.
pushes every single thing, every shot. By human in OPR and stuff. Whereas for me,
You can't even hit an AI.
I can hit our game team with some players.
Shroud doesn't use muskets, does he?
Anyway, let's move on. I think the first one is we're going to start leaning more into solo. But by the way, that doesn't mean we're going to ignore PvP or PvE or anything else. It's
Yeah.
or group play. We're going to lean into solo is one thing we're going to put more effort toward.
Yeah, I think especially
That's
at
good.
that game, there's
That's
not a lot of
good.
solo activities that you can do right now. And I think that's something we're starting to take a look at. And I think you're going to start to see glimpses of it in Brimstone already. There might be opportunities for more solo chests as you get into the PTR and explore there. And I think finding ways to create meaningful progression in gameplay for endgame players as solo is something we're going to start thinking more about.
I think the experiment, fight during the end of the Brimstone story. After I played it a few times, I'm like, I think we probably should try to find more ways to do things like this in the game. It feels really good.
Yeah, it's the Apophis fight. That solo instance is really fun, and it's like playing a boss in an expedition, except you get to do it all by yourself. It's got the same phases.
I didn't want to blow the story
Oh,
for people, but
It's not what I just said.
it's not a pop. It's some other.
Hold on,
It's an
what?
expedition, except you get to do it all by yourself. It's got the same phases.
I didn't want to blow the.
Oh.
story.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
what I just said.
It's
Okay.
not a pop. It's some other person.
We're gonna see it.
We now feel
Okay.
like we've done a pretty good job at group content, and now we want to start working towards super hard endgame raid content. And it was really important that we made a few good expeditions before we start, crawl before you walk before you run, that kind of thing. It was really important that we felt like we were succeeding at making expeditions
Raid?
before we start looking at raids. And I think we have some evidence now that we're doing a pretty good job at expeditions, and we can start moving down that toward that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of compelling content to be made for 10, 20 group of players to.
He just nonchalant said we're gonna make raids?
See. You may have seen a glimpse of something that's in the future in store for you. And
That's a raid boss. The sandworm is a raid boss. What? Oh my god.
we are looking to add a lot more content like that in the future.
Yeah, for me,
That's
I think it's been
crazy.
hella fun when it's done. But the other thing is, like, right now, a lot of the gearing in game is so oriented towards PvP, right? Like, best in slot is defined by Brazilian and all the PvP perks, right? And what we want to do is create some PvE content that is as hard and challenging as war, so that you really have to optimize your gear for the PvE experience. And I think when we release this feature, that is goal, right? Like, to make sure that it really drives the end game progression.
I hope whenever we release that feature, we have some method that helps you manage those gear changes that we're talking about. 'Cause I think that would be important.
Yes, one of the one of the big things that we're looking to do is aim for easier ways to swap in between different gear sets. Obviously, there's
Gear
gonna be a lot of
sets,
limitations.
that was-
There's probably
I was
a lot
gonna
of
say that
limitations to reduce
it's
the
gonna
damage
come
from
soon.
the monsters, and those inventory management starts to become a lot when you are carrying all these different sets, and we're looking at a feature that will help out with that significantly.
As a crafter, I would like that also, right? Like, I don't have to swap in
Certainly
stone
true.
cutting, refining, all that.
But just full transparency, those aren't like in the near-term roadmap. These are things we're working toward.
That's why we're not calling them out by any kind of name.
Yeah. Speaking of things we're working
Oh.
toward, on our last start,
Things that are in the design phase.
yes, things that are really early, like concepting.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
this is
do get some
okay.
feedback
Never
from players
mind.
with, like more ways to move quickly through the world.
Yeah,
More fast
and
travel points?
we're,
I don't think they want
you know,
fast travel
shrines, shrines are great, but as our world is growing, and I mean, people have seen Brimstone Sands, it's massive, and the world is going to continue to grow.
Oh no, they're talking about. Okay, they're about to talk about mounts. I think I need to sit down. Oh my god, I'm sitting down. What am I saying? Okay.
We are designing maps.
Again, no timeline on these, very far into the future,
Yeah.
but it is something we are beginning to actively work on. Part of that is because we know as the world gets, like right now the world is really big. I think if it gets any bigger, it's going to require it.
Yeah.
It's super important. So you can kind of think about timelines along those lines.
But don't think about timelines,
Yeah.
like at all.
Yeah.
Don't think about that. Just
Oh,
know that
okay.
we heard you. We know that this is important,
Okay.
and we are working on it. But it is very, very close to just the inception point. So
Well, in an effort to not let this thing go on all day, I think we're gonna call this one done.
Really?
Before we leave, big shout out.
Really? Because mounts were leaked like they data mined basically at the launch of the game. I don't know about that.
To return him, happy
But-
birthday! Happy birthday to you.
Woo!
happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Were you gonna start? Okay.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hi,
I can't
I'm
wait for the
Mike, and
roadmap.
joining me are Rob, Rosie, and Phil again, and we're going to talk about the revamped starting experience. I'm really excited about this.
Revamp.
Major changes and overhauls took place, and a lot of it had to do with the story that we wanted to tell. And I wanted to start from kind of the beginning, which is appropriate on some of the new mechanics and storytelling methods that made it into the current world state for the player. So, Rob, why don't we start from the crash?
Sure. So we absolutely, we talked about improving the storytelling experience in New World since we launched. Even before that, we were kind of thinking, hey, maybe some things we can do. And right here, this is our first chance we really, massively changed not just the quest, but the story, the characters, dialogue in so many ways. And right at the beginning, you crash on the beach and really bring home kind of the thread and what's going. You're going to start hearing a voice in your head. I guess I'll leave a mystery maybe for people who may.
I think most people should have played by now. What we can say is the Tempest.
The Tempest.
The Tempest is now. Yes.
It is the seductive voice of corruption, who may be both taunting and trying to recruit you. And yeah, she'll start talking to you right away, kind of like giving you a hint of like the larger threat and where that's going. And then when the player gets out on the beach, it's a totally different series of quests there. The players will get to meet an all-new character. The first.
I don't think I have enough time, man. I'm gonna skip this part. This is just starting experience, right? I mean, I know everything
Or
about
I
it.
think if you look around and meet the factions, you get have a story quest with them, you get to know them, and eventually you get to come together.
Look, if you want to know more about starting zones, I'm gonna say this one more time. I don't know what's going on with my voice. I'm gonna say this one more time, man. There's a video. There's a video. I made a video. I made a video, guys. Oh look, what a nice comment. I made a video. You should watch it. All right, let's keep going. Brimstone Sands.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm joined again by Rob, and this time with David and Charles. We're
David.
talking about all things
He's a new
Brimstone
guy.
Sands. Super exciting. It's a brand new zone, a giant zone, and I want to start things off talking about the lore, because right when you enter the zone, one of the first things that you see, just out there on the horizon, is this giant pyramid. What's that about, Rob?
There's a giant pyramid. There's a giant statue of a Roman general. Like there's a
Big landmarks and fixtures instead.
It's huge. The zone's huge, and everything in it is huge. And yeah, story-wise, the story of Brimstone Sands is very rooted in world history. It's the history of if you read the history books or if you watch the HBO series Rome, then you're familiar with what happened when Mark Antony and Cleopatra were finally cornered in Alexandria, and there's a whole story about what happened to them, but it's not actually the truth. And the truth is that they fled to Eternum.
Of course.
And that is the idea.
Oh,
of
yeah.
you knew
Yeah.
that. You figured it all along. HBO kind of
The
hinted.
history books were
But,
all wrong.
Yeah, and so but of course when they got here, so you have this Roman legion and some Egyptians who came here.
Amazon has it all figured out.
Here much longer than that, with some famous figures from history that you'll meet in your quest series there. Imhotep for one to call out, and you'll meet some others. But yeah, so it's this clash of these the Romans and then these ancient Egyptians who really saw the ancients as gods when they first came here. And then the whole story plays out. It's pretty epic, and as it needs to be, just to take you across that zone because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, it feels like that early trailer that we had watching the Romans take that jewel.
Yeah, that's
We
what I
have a
was
callback to that
thinking.
Several times.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we call back to that in the main story a few times, and
Been the plan all along.
That's
Right
crazy.
here.
I looked at that a few days ago. I was like,
maybe
whoa.
there's evil in this too. I mean, I guess maybe there's a little good and evil on both sides.
In all of us.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's pretty profound.
Real.
But everyone wants the gray. Like, you're not quite sure who your friends or your enemies are in Brimstone.
Right.
You
Yeah,
gotta
we definitely.
figure that out.
I mean, that's an important thing to call out because we defeated the Tempest, we defeated Isabella back in Shadow Mountain, and here this is the opening up of a whole new chapter and storyline with the next big villain you're going to fight, who is an ally you had in the first act. And it's just
Angry
just
Ear.
dive in there, right? I mean, yeah.
So we kind of hinted at it already.
Yeah, so yeah, we did. Yeah, Aliana, who was the huntress that worked with you to defeat,
Yeah.
ultimately turns out to be the ancient Artemis, who is a very powerful being and very angry with humanity, and so her ultimate motives are kind of
Bro,
getting
I
surfaced.
helped her ass, man.
I'm not quite
It's
happy
so
with what you did with
annoying.
Motherwell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You don't mess with Mother. She kind of reluctantly lets you do it, but she's kind of harbors a grudge.
Yeah, it's terrible of her.
Yeah, we're like humans kind of mess with
So
everything.
with all this new story, obviously we had to have new POIs, new designs, new mechanics. David, what can you tell us about some of the new stuff that we put in here?
I am so excited because Brimstone, as you've heard, is the largest zone we've made so far. It's
About two and a half times as big.
2 to 3, yeah.
It's huge.
We have spent countless hours packing the zone with as much unique content, hidden content, secrets, collectibles. Our
Secrets.
POIs have tall
Collectibles.
verticality structures you can climb. Almost every POI can be climbed. There's jumping puzzles, there's platforming puzzles, there's cliffside ruins, Roman forts, sulfur pools. It's a lot of content. It's a lot of unique content, and I can't wait to see what players think of it. I think it sets a new standard for open world interactables and small little dynamic things you can find on the road. It has the most random roadside encounters of any zone so far, and there's a lot to unpack. Do we have the rest
What
of the day to talk about
roadside
it? Because
encounter?
I could talk all day.
Well, when the credits roll, we'll make sure that you're talking while we see everything. But some of my favorites are I love the wall, I love the aqueduct, I love
The
the
wall.
Acropolis. Some of the climbing mechanics that are integrated into there that you're not like, oh, I wasn't sent here, but all of a sudden I discovered something, and I keep climbing, and I find and discover like say like an ancient glyph, decipher it, and now I get to use it to unlock either like a one-way portal or one of the new like chest unlocks. There's some really cool mechanics that we've started to integrate.
Yeah, the ancient glyphs are a really exciting system. There's 26 of them. They are the secret language of the ancients that you have to discover buried in the sands. And
Yeah.
each one has a different meaning that the players will unlock. Using that power, you can open up two-way portals across the zone. You can unlock secret chests.
I've seen a few portals that I couldn't access,
you can
so that's
lower
why.
magical walls and unveil secret rooms. There's a lot of cool things you can do with them, and hopefully we can continue to add to this system in the future.
Yeah, and of course one of them is where you get your first heart rune. But the POI where you do that is, I mean, amazing.
Yeah,
it's like two-sided, right? So it's like you have one side of this giant wall where you go to get your heart rune and go through that experience, and then the whole other side is elite, right?
Yes, it's probably our biggest POI we've ever built, and the artist on it is just done a phenomenal job of adding secret alcoves and hidden closets and climbing portions that take you to new sweeping vistas. It's pretty incredible.
Can't wait.
You can scour the battlements for treasure, dive into the battles, and unlock all sorts of secret hidden treasures. So
yeah, I mean,
it's great.
That's a perfect segue because what we're talking about is like all these like vistas and landmarks. Charles, you can touch on the art because the art is massively compelling because it's a brand new biome, something that we haven't seen in a tournament. You want to take
Sure, no, I mean, it's a massive desert, but desert means a lot of different things. Like real deserts all over the world are very different. There's sub-biomes, there's different areas. So we wanted to capture a lot of that. Like we have areas with big sweeping sand dunes. You get that like I'm lost in the Sahara or something vibe. But then there's like deep crevasses that you go down into canyons. There's like cave structures. There's more coastal desert vibe. There's like different sub areas.
It's a funny
there's
word.
The sulfur pits, which is a whole like chemical desert. Vibe, a whole other treatment. And there's a lot of creatures that come with that you won't find anywhere else. And like the overall take, we went like epic desert was something we really wanted to go for and have it feel really different than the rest of the world. We've done a ton of different like forests and different like very lush biomes. And here it's a very different vibe. And there's stuff we had to do even to achieve that because like the way our terrain system works, the way materials are spread out, we can't just lean on that like heavy vegetation that we do in other zones. So here we had to go a lot deeper into like how do we present sand dunes and like all the different ways the sand patterns move and how the wind moves the dunes. And like there's a whole system that we had to figure out how to present there to players that a ton of work went into like to pull off.
I was going to say too, I mean, the desert wouldn't be complete without the ancient ruins. And I think, I mean, we have ancient ruins all over the game, but Brimstone really takes it to another level. Like, it feels like we go much deeper into what was possible that the ancients might have built.
There's definitely like an escalation of like you get hints of ancient all over, but here they're expressed a little more extreme. It's like harkening to like a lot of ruins around Egypt and some of these like massive monuments that you see in real life, and sort of bringing that to a tournament, oversizing it maybe a little more because everything in the tournament is just sort of elevated more. They had the power of Azoth to build, and then even going to the settlement, there's this oasis built in the middle, and Romans in real history are like known as industrious builders, and so we wanted to present that like, oh, a Roman built settlement here, and like what could that be, and all the life and like interesting nooks and crannies all over that settlement. It's bigger than any settlement we have prior to this point. It's sprawling way more, and I think there's a lot of cool, interesting houses for players to get, and interesting landmarks there.
Surely we're charging more for those houses, right? To live in Brimstone should be like a premium.
I don't know. I think we want players to come there. Like this is their new home.
I would. I certainly will.
There's one particular house that is 3 floors. It's got a beautiful view of the giant colossus right in the middle of town. That's probably the one I'm gonna get.
Yeah, New Corsica is the name of that settlement.
You know, in addition to, I mean, the ancient ruins, the set pieces are amazing, and then the enemies too. Like the Nubian guards are like fantastic. They're some of my favorite ancient enemies I fought.
These are not just copy paste or recolors of our ancient guardians. These have new kits, new spells, new abilities that the players are gonna have to discover.
Yeah.
How to defend them.
With the
I noticed that.
cats and the giant scarabs and scorpions and the sulfur lizards, which are crazy scary. There's some big
Field
beasts out there.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, and the other enemy families with the dust phantoms, and then obviously you have the Roman Legion that are there, and they have some.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool backstory
characters.
to the Corrupted Legion too, because of course the Romans and the Egyptians both arrived here at the same time, and then over time they had falling out between them over do we want to activate all these ancient technologies? The Egyptians kind of believed, or some of the Egyptians believed, hey, these are gifts from the gods. We should turn these things on. And General Crassus, the Roman general, was like, I don't know about that. And ultimately what happened is he got all the Romans, the Legion got turned to stone as part of a spell that was cast from the Ennead, and then when they came out they became corrupted, and now they're kind of the first immediate threat when you get into the zone. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. They're some of my favorite corrupted enemies for sure.
And then there's one
pretty
other
cool.
really big thing
I wish
that roams around.
I wish you could actually figure that out in the story or in the game. Maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe they've improved it.
Yeah.
I haven't
Some
played
people
it.
might have gotten glimpses of it early, but you're guaranteed to see it in the PTR. Well, if you're lucky.
Wait,
It's a
what?
big scary
Oh,
beast.
Sandworm.
Like that. You can't fight that. No, it's too big.
Yeah.
It's too big.
It actually does kill you if you stand too close to it.
So if you hear it coming,
If you hear a rumble,
Wait,
and
really?
It looks like a small volcano or a fissure. Just run. Just get out of the way.
there's so much to talk about Brimstone. Like, I mean, one thing I would say for sure, like, if you played through other parts of the game and you went looking for things, you explored and looked for something, and got frustrated you didn't find something, like, if you explore in Brimstone, you're gonna find cool things. And I guarantee you're not gonna find them all. It's gonna take some time. Because there's so much that you guys have put in. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Check behind waterfalls. Check behind. Check underneath platforms.
Check the roads. Do drop downs because there was one that I found outside of where the Heart Rune quest is. It's a series of like drop downs from.
Well, don't
it was
give
like
it.
nests.
Don't
Yeah,
give it
so you see
away.
It was like on a cliff, and if you mapped it out, you're like, oh wait a minute, I see something twinkling down there, and it was another glyph that you could acquire. And I thought that was super.
We have jumping puzzles, and that's an example of a falling puzzle.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So you just gotta keep wary. I think that's gonna wrap it up for now.
Falling
Really good
puzzle.
feedback from the PTR. We're very excited about this zone and what's gonna bring to a turn.
Heart
Anyway,
gems.
happy
Do
birthday,
we
Jared.
want to watch
It's a good
this?
gift for the first year. It's a Brimstone Sands, a pretty good gift. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Hello, we're here to discuss the Heart Gem today. It's one of our
Look, I don't have
features. We
enough
extra,
time to do.
ability to our players. So I'm gathered here today with Phil over here,
see.
product owner for Open World Systems, and we got Rob over here, who's our narrative director, and Kyle, our senior gameplay engineer. So let's get down to it. Let's hear the lore behind these Heart Gems.
Cool. So as you guys should know from playing through the main story, players first get their Heart Gem. It's they insert this gem into their chest.
Insert. That was very gentle way of putting it, right?
Nice way of saying it. Yes. This is the idea behind the gem is that it protects the player's soul from becoming corrupted or becoming lost, and this is part of becoming a soul warden in the game. And of course, indeed, like it's a pretty grim way you have to insert this in your chest. You have to actually die to put it in there. The players do that early in the main story, and now as they've advanced farther,
Really?
Brimstone Sands.
That's
Players
pretty
discover that
cool.
there are opportunities to improve their Heart Gem, and the Heart Gem by basically they go around the world, they find these ancient glyphs, and then they can take these glyphs and inscribe them on their Heart Gem as a Heart Rune, and these give them powers that have latent powers from that are hidden off on the island. Whether they come from the ancients or they come from some other elemental power on the island. They come from a lot of different places, and yeah, and then of course the cool thing is cool. It's cool as a story, but it's around them, and you get it by doing that quest with the Soul Wardens in Brimstone Sands. But once you try one of these, that's where it really gets awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting piece of progression because you have that really dramatic moment early on in the game. Now to call back to that and actually use that to enhance your playable character. Now it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, we planned it this way all along, of course.
Of course.
Well, speaking of enhancing character, so just the functionality behind the Heart Gems, one of our it's basically a 4th active ability now, so we're gonna have another button to press, which is really exciting for us. One of the bigger things for this is a character base, so it does not matter what weapon you have. So it's gonna go right on your character.
That's a
It's
weird
really
thing
neat.
to
Opens up
say.
a world of opportunity as we move forward with these. And we also have a new way of implementing. We usually have cooldown timers on all our abilities, but this time we actually went with a meter. Kyle, I know you worked on that. You want to give some info?
So one of the big things we had to do to implement this was we had to implement a new charge meter.
you'll build charge just by playing the game, attacking, getting attacked, healing, getting healed, just your typical combat situations. And then once the meter is completely filled, you can press the button and unleash your chosen hard chip.
Nice. It charges up pretty fast, right? Like,
we've tried to tune it to about, if you're actively playing, about once every minute or so, give it.
Oh, wow.
So when you're actively engaged in war, that was kind of what we were going for, like 1 use per minute or so.
what if I'm getting smacked around by little mobs in a POI or something?
You'll get charged from that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Will it charge faster or the more damage? Like from damage or from attack? Like is there a bias?
The way we've tuned it right now is you'll get a little more charge by doing the attacking, not as much charge by getting smacked around, but I mean you'll still be able to.
So there's some hope for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
The abilities themselves, they're not, they're obviously not themed after the weapons, but like where did all these ideas come from? Like, so our abilities are definitely themed from some of our expeditions. So for instance, one of our abilities is a cannon blast, where you basically whip out a cannon and shoot a projectile at people. So and that comes from B&B, barnacles and black powder. And so every one of these
Barnacles and black powder.
or something of that nature. Which leads me to like, how do we actually get these?
Sure. Yeah. Let me go into that. So
How do you get these?
The original heart gem, the heart runes that you inscribe on your heart gem, they come from expeditions primarily, and so. In all of our
yeah,
fantasy
I've
engines,
seen this. I've
Genesis,
seen this.
Lazarus,
Yeah.
Tempest, Barnacles and Black Powder, now the new Ennead, you'll be able to get a tier 1 heart rune that unlocks a unique ability, and those about a 10% drop chance from the bosses there. So that's where you get your tier 1, and then we have 3 tiers. And as you tier it up, it gets more and more powerful, and you actually have a little bit of a choice at unlocking specific different perks at tier 3, which is really cool. And there's going to be a lot of different ways that players can kind of theory craft with that. And to do that, I mean, it's truly an endgame pursuit. And what we wanted to do, it's an endgame special ability. To do that, we're requiring you to get like some endgame mats. There's some brimstone-specific materials you'll need to pick up. There's gypsum orbs, which we haven't done before, that actually feed into the recipe here to level it up, as well as just some other unique mats.
Oh,
for
yeah.
the type of heart, the heart rune that you're going for. Yeah.
You get your first one though by doing the quest that unlocks it. That's important to know. So look for that in North Brimstone.
Mhm.
About halfway through the Brimstone storyline that unlocks.
Yep.
You get Cannon Blast for that, right?
I believe our first one is
It's
cannon blast.
Cannon Blast. Yeah. But in Brimstone, in the Ennead though, when you're completing that expedition, that's where you would get the detonate one, and that's really cool. And so like that's more thematic to that expedition. The power of the sulfuric sands and acid, and stuff that goes boom. It's really exciting. I don't know. I think it's gonna add a ton of depth to gameplay.
Stuff that goes
Sword and Cannon
boom.
Blast is,
Well said.
That's how I playtested all Brimstone with that.
Well, it's really nice because like you've got your melee build.
Ding, 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 like a lot of like slashes that feel like noisy, harsh, not really the great qualities that we're looking for. So when Tony actually took on the task of creating the new palette for the greatsword, it looked at making it more like elusive, more less predictable and powerful. And one of the happy accidents that happened is during one of the mornings he was working on the weapon, he made coffee and he forgot to remove to put the pot underneath the coffee machine. And so those coffee drips that were like evaporating on the hot metal became one of his source of inspiration for the weapon. And it created that sensation of like you don't want to be burned. It's dangerous. It's threatening. It's the elements that we're missing from like the HEMA recordings. And so we took those recordings, processed them, distorted them, layered them with like some reverse metal, and it created this like new out of the world magical sonic finality that we use throughout all the abilities. And it's one of the aspects that we love doing with sounds. It's always trying to find the most familiar sounds but the least predictable. We want to surprise our audience, with things that they've never heard of before, but also make them feel like it's still something familiar they've listened to before. Some of the examples, for example, would be with the fire staff. No one probably realized, but we use like an A10 bomber for like the meteor shower. It creates like these
Really?
sounds. We use, like, a rocket launch, for the heavy fireball. When you hear it in the air, it's crackling through, like the sky. It's actually a rocket launch. We use like trains coupling
That's
for
actually
like a
so
great
cool.
spinning ability. I think it's called whirlwind. And then
Remember that.
yeah, that one, yeah. Just because the great sword is too new. But yeah, we love trying to surprise the audience with things that we put a sound that feels satisfying, satisfaction for weapon when you whack the bosses in the environment or like other players. It creates like a little dose of dopamine that makes you feel good.
Yeah, it's cool. And I think the sound design in our game is awesome, and I love that you give
Yep.
just as much attention to the
Big
weapons
time.
as you do the gathering, because that's what always gets called out. Right? Like, the weapons get just as much love. Well, we have an AI designer here with us. Let's talk a little bit about like how is the greatsword going to handle AI combat? Anything special there? Anything you want to call out?
Yeah.
So is this the guy that's responsible for the mobs accidentally just dying on their own? Is this who we talk to? Because I like to talk to this guy.
Absolutely. So I do a lot of tanking. So it's going to be a great weapon to pair with your sword and shield. Most players use sword and shield as their primary weapon for tanking, and kind of what you're using as an offhand has changed. Some players use spear, a lot of players use great axe and warhammer. I feel like myself prefer the hatchet. But the greatsword, the entire defense tree is really geared well towards tanking. A lot of the abilities generate passive threat on top of the taunt gem compatibility there. You have abilities like Roaring Rupture, which will taunt, and also empower players nearby. So it's a great way to make sure that your teammates are kind of getting buffs there. So it's going to really help our tank players kind of maintain control of the encounter while also supporting the other members of the party. On the other side there, though, you also have the onslaught tree, which is going to deal a lot of damage. So I expect for some more melee focused encounters, things like the Greenskeeper and Chartis, you're going to really want to keep that greatsword.
That's what I'm going to use.
And Dave, when you were designing the greatsword, was it like I know spear's a little more single target focused, where the great axe is obviously more cleaving through people. What was sort of the theory or the goal for the greatsword?
Yeah, the greatsword definitely was about multiple enemies for sure and multiple hits, and also having range. That was one of the big things with it. It's such a large object in the world, right? Like, so we want to make sure we reach really far. We wanted to also keep it on the onslaught tree, really fluid and fast. That's why we have a lot of the abilities are multi-hit abilities. They hit 3 times, 2 times, things of that nature. So I think it was about like creating a really aggressive offense. Some of the abilities will actually slow the enemy too, which would be great for PvP if you hit. And then on the defensive side, kind of like what Patrick was mentioning there, we really want to make sure we had another way to tank, not just sword and shield. So
The
defensive
roadmap
tree is really going to help us with that.
Well, thanks. We're excited to see what you all do with the greatsword. Tell us what your favorite builds and all that are, and congratulations, New World birthday number 1.
Ennead expedition.
Thank you for joining us once again, one last time. Let's hear it. We're going to be talking about the Ennead. So it's a brand new expedition in Brimstone Sands, and joining me for this segment once again is Rob.
Is the roadmap not in this? Because I'm gonna be very upset if it's not.
And then adjacent to him, I'm totally going to blank on Patrick's name, but it's Patrick. You know what's throwing me off, Patrick? This on his head. So if you didn't know, Patrick is already 6'8", and with the hat, he's now 9'10". And just to my left, TV right, is Darren. Say hello, Darren. So now, the Ennead. Let's talk about the story and its importance. We kind of touched a little bit about the giant pyramid as you entered Brimstone, but what's at the heart of this?
Yeah, so as we mentioned, you'll see it right when you walk into Brimstone Sands. It's impossible to miss this giant pyramid glowing, partially glowing, when you walk into the zone. The pyramid sits in the ancient city of Akkad, which was built by the ancient Egyptians that came here 3,000 years ago. And actually, this was concurrent with when the ancients were here. And although, we're not going to tell you everything about the ancients, but it's absolutely true that the ancients were here at the same time. They worked together with the Egyptians to build the city and this massive pyramid that houses the Ennead, which the Ennead itself is actually like the mechanism inside. It's the machine and the power that's inside of this pyramid. And yeah, the story behind it is, of course, that some years ago, so it was built originally by Imhotep along with the ancients, and then about 1,000 years ago, the Ennead was activated because the Egyptians who came a little bit later thought that there was the power of the gods they could unleash, and they unleashed it, and in fact ended up petrifying the Roman legion. And now the legacy of that is today with General Crassus and the corrupted legion, and they're still in conflict today. He's back in there now, trying to redeem or to shut down or reacquire the power that he was that they looked for previously.
Now, with that awesome story and that backstory, that's kind of like leading to now we're designing this space. And so, what are the things that you took into account with like that story and things that we've learned?
So it's not often as a level designer, right, that you get to literally go inside a giant pyramid on the mission to push the giant red button, right? Like that's the setup here, and right away we knew that. We integrated it deeply in the level design. One of the things that I think we learned from the get-go with the Amarin expedition was I wanted it to align with player goals on replays, because I didn't want people to get left out in the cold when they were on this territory quest, is what it actually is, right? The mechanics for getting the chest and the mechanics for turning on the giant red button initially are the same. They take you to the same corners of the dungeons. Oops, that's
$1 for the jar. You know what it is, but you still owe me $1.
And this is a very meat and potatoes dungeon crawl, and that's the correct word in this context.
Yes.
There's some labyrinths, which I think fits the theme very well, and also some big chambers where aggro ranges become very important. There's multiple encounters in these chambers, and they lead pretty directly into multiple bosses, and I'll let you, Patrick, talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So this is our first 3-boss dungeon, which is something we're super excited about. Like Darren said,
Is
you're
it?
getting in there and you're constantly fighting other enemies.
I could have sworn there was more.
So you're really going to get into the action very quickly, which makes it very fun. First boss you come across is, I'm going to butcher this name, but the Godling Capri, this giant scarab. Internally, we refer to him as the Disco Beetle.
Big beetle.
Big beetle, disco beetle.
Big boy.
He loves lasers, so when he pops lasers out on the dance floor, it's time to get far, far away. His ring is really big, which lends itself well to a lot of space, and players kind of moving around trying to avoid his kind of chaotic lasers. Really kind of chaotic fight. That's a lot of fun. Second boss, the very feared kind of General Crassus, the leader of the Roman legion. We build up to him a little bit in Brimstone, and then you finally get to fight him and his corrupted Roman legion, which is just super exciting. You're not only dealing with like, kind of the power that he has and like, the mechanics that he has, but also all the soldiers he's bringing along with him. And if you're not able to kind of maintain control of those soldiers, that fight's going to turn out really, really fast.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Some of them get real brutal towards the
Can
end.
confirm.
These ogres, and those ogres will mess you up real fast if your tank is not on it. Now leads us to our third boss, the Goliaths of the Ennead. These are two kind of ancient stone constructs come to life with ancient kind of magic to kind of defend the Ennead, and they're the last line of defense before you get into that control console at the end there. Really tough fight. You got to kind of handle the mechanics well, but it's really important to remember that you can't kill one without killing the other. And I'll kind of leave that mechanic at that.
Yeah, I mean, just to call out that the whole temple, like Darren said, is like a security system, right? Like this ancient power structure, and General Crassus is fighting his way through there. And I actually can't think about like how much of the dungeon is corrupt, how much of the expedition is corrupted versus ancient.
About a third of the expedition is taken over by Crassus and his forces, and the expedition is pretty evenly divided into 3 islands, fitting the 3 different bosses.
And then I was going to mention that, of course, that, ultimately what's this place protecting, right? Like Crassus is trying to get in there. We know there's something, and that's that red button back at the back, and we're not going to necessarily say everything about what's going on there, but suffice to say, if you achieve this, then something pretty cool can happen.
Yeah.
How many runs do you think before a player can achieve that?
It's really going to, this maps directly to a quest, and the objectives for this are actually outside of the expedition in that they're in the quest flow, not the expedition flow. And so it's a big deal for us. It's a little bit new to be tracking these individual objectives separate from the expedition flow. They should be able to do it in a run once they have the correct quest setting them up, and that's the part that I didn't want them to be getting left out in the cold, where their motivation is different than players who are replaying this. And I think this expedition in general is going to have a ton of replay value. That's one of the things that we wanted to get out of it.
Yeah. So even if you haven't done all the quests leading up to it, running it'll be super rewarding. But and it's a a pretty long quest line. I think there's probably 10 or 12 quests in that quest line before you get to the point where you actually go in there and challenge Crassus, and in the story actually deal with the mechanisms inside there.
Yeah, I loved it. Like there's a definitive kind of like golden path you can take, but there's all these alcoves and different like clover leaves that can occur as you loop or double back, or you're just carving your way back onto the path. But nice open spaces, lots of named enemies, so there's always kind of something to go after. And then some of the new mechanics I like there, it's kind of like ancient guardian technology, these sentinels, they cause different things to happen once they're alerted to your presence, where like spawns of enemies out of the walls and some other neat stuff happens with their presence.
Starstone Burrows, just to give some background, we talked about it sort of an Ocean's 11 movie, right? Like it was a jewelry heist, which it like literally is. And this was more like assaulting a bunker to push the giant red button. Like the forces know you're coming, you're fighting your way through them, and I think it came off well in terms of that.
Yeah. Mike mentioned the kind of winding hallways of the expedition.
It's a cool dungeon.
See how that plays out in mutations, because there's not really one clear path forward. So how the meta develops around whether you just rush to the end and get in and out as quickly as possible, or you stop and kill every single named enemy along the way. Like I think players can have a lot of fun kind of figuring out that puzzle to maximize their score.
Yeah, and you got to wonder, so all these ancient guardians in there and all these security devices, and but no one knows what happened to the ancients or where they are, what they're up to, or what this device might have to do with them. But suffice to say, there would be kind of scary to think about what might happen if the ancients were to come back, or I don't know.
Oh my god. Okay, bro. Wow. This guy knows how to tease a man.
Oh yeah. Well, who knows?
There might be some ancients around.
He knows.
Lying dormant, sleeping. Good.
No.
Well, we hope you love what you've heard about the Ennead. We can't wait for you to jump into this expedition in the PTR and when it goes live. It's gonna be a fantastic anniversary release. So happy birthday, Eternum. Here's to one awesome year. Can't wait for more to come.
Yeah, enjoy. Woo! Well, we covered a lot today. Those deep dives in the making of segments.
Bro. Mention the roadmap. Just mention it.
Super informative. Thanks a lot for taking the time to do that, everybody. Before we go, we just want to give a quick couple quick updates. First off, the PTR is live, so if you want to check out Brimstone and our new starting experience,
Updates?
hop onto the forums.
I like updates.
There's also there's some interesting stats we have here from the past year. There's too many to list, but we picked a couple that were just kind of interesting. There have been 6.3 billion trees felled in Eternum. It's possible that there were a few bots in there, but we did ban those, and we're going to keep working on making sure that Eternum's a clean environment for you folks to play in. There were 17.
I love the self-awareness. I love it.
3 billion PvE kills, so you took care of a lot of the dangerous creatures in Eternum during the last year. Scott, you have a couple here that you called out?
Yeah, 12.4 billion minutes streamed on Twitch. Wow, that's a lot of minutes. So thank you to everyone.
It's a lot of minutes.
We really appreciate that. Another interesting one is 327 million quests completed.
Yeah, and if you're a quester, then definitely check out PTR. Definitely check out the update. You're gonna find a vastly improved starting experience, and then quests that are much higher quality than the ones that we were delivering earlier. As we learned, got better with your feedback.
That's
you're gonna see a lot
good.
more of that in the
That's
game
good.
going forward.
Want to let you know we hear the feedback on Fresh Start servers. We're gonna have something to talk about real soon. Beyond that, we're gonna see you in October where we talk about the roadmap. Bye bye.
Wait. Okay, so end of October we're gonna see the roadmap, bro. See, like, it's not smart though. I feel like there would be a lot more eyes on this than. That's okay. See, this is what I'm talking about. You guys need someone on your team who knows how to capitalize on hype. Okay, they needed to release the roadmap here because the hype is big right now. After it releases, it's not gonna be as big. We'll be live. Alright. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.
It bothers you, doesn't it? It does. Well, that's because you think too much about what others think of you.